now, this is the first lesson that we are going to use the SimpleGUI library, and let's see how it looks like. So as it was mentioned before, we are going to use the code skyper. So on the left side, we are going to type all our codes, and whenever we run it, whenever we execute it, we will see the outputs over here or in other page. So since we are working in the GUI, so we are going to have new frame, we are going to new page, and on that frame we are going to make some designs. So in the beginning, what I need to do is the step number one is I need to import my library. I need to download my library and I need to use them later on. So what I'm going to do is I will say import SimpleGUI. So there is no need to run it now because I need to complete all my codes. So whenever I'm done with my codes, I will run and I will see what is going on. So from this library and from the SimpleGUI, and I will call a function. Do you remember that? So we need to specify what library we are using, that and the function which is inside that library. So since right now I'm using one library, or later on we are going to use several libraries to make a design or make it just a simple game. So right now what I'm doing here is saying from the SimpleGUI, can you I'm trying to use the create and frame. So that is the name of the function which is belong to the SimpleGUI, and I will open and close it. But do you remember that whenever we are using the functions, some of the functions, they do not require any inputs or any variables, but here in that function, in that particular function, it requires 3 different variables. The variable number 1 is the name of my frame. So for example, I will say home. So that is going to be the name of my frame, and I will just run it just in a second and I will show how it looks like. And the last 2 is dimensions of my frame, and the dimensions is calculated by the pixels. So I will say, let me see, 400 by 400. So let's analyze what is going on here. From the SimpleGUI library, I'm calling my function create a frame, and that is the variables, and I will save all of them to another variable. So I will say that is my frame and equal to. Why I'm doing so? Because later on I need these codes again. So instead of typing this long sentence log code, later on I will just call the frame. So it will be kind of easy for me. And what I'm going to say that frame and start my program. So that is the basics. So let me just run and let's see what is going on. Perfect. So that frame is working. You see the name home, whatever we name it, it's over here. If I change my name of the frame, so let me just say that is my game. If I run it, and yes, that is the name is changed right now. So it comes from here. So let's see what is the 400 by 400 stands for. I have a 400 for the x-axis and 400 pixels in the y-axis. It's the same in the math. So the horizontal is x-axis and the vertical is y-axis. So that is my dimensions. If I want to change it, so let's imagine I want to make it a little bit wider. What I can say that 600 by 400 if I run it, and yeah. So right now I have a 400 on the y-axis and a 600 on the x-axis. So here is important. So the first one, it indicates what is my x-axis, and the second one is my y-axis. But if you decide that your design, your game, or whatever you want to design is going to be published on the cell phones or the smartphones, so they have the different dimensions. So what I can do is I can just flip over. I will say that for x-axis I want to use a 400, and for the y-axis I want to use a 700. I'm just giving sample. So let's see how it looks like, and yes, so that is my frame. So that is the name of my frame. So that is my real frame that I'm going to work on that one. So whatever we design after this point is going to be published over here. And we have some free spaces over here. We have some the menu over here. We're gonna talk about later on in our next sessions, but just keep in mind, in order to run my first frame, here is what to do. As a default, it comes as a black color. Actually, it's not a black color because none any colors is running right now. So right now there's no any pixels to turn it on. And because right now in my codes I didn't specify what to do, which pixel to turn to the different colors. So if I do not specify it as a default, it gives me black color. So that is just introduction about how to create the frame first.